If you thought Part 1 exposed some bad Fortnite settings, Part 2 is about to get even deeper because some of the settings players still use in 2026 are secretly destroying your game and your rank. And the wild part? Most players never even realize these settings are hurting them. So today, we're breaking down more Fortnite settings you should immediately turn off. Make sure you watch all the way to the end, because I'm also showing you the settings you should turn on for a huge advantage. If this video helps you, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and share this with a teammate who still plays Fortnite on ultra cinematic potato settings. Now let's get into it. First up, anti-aliasing. Turn this off, or at least set it to the absolute lowest possible setting. Here's why this matters. Anti-aliasing is designed to smooth jagged edges in games. Sounds good in theory, but in Fortnite, especially competitive Fortnite, it usually creates more problems than benefits. Higher anti-aliasing settings add extra GPU load, lower FPS, and can actually make the image look blurrier during fast movement. That means when you're trying to track someone flying through builds, sliding around corners, or jumping in a box fight, the game becomes less clear. And clarity matters way more than fancy visuals. Especially in 2026, where Fortnite fights are faster than ever. If you're using performance mode, most anti-aliasing effects are already disabled anyway, which is one of the reasons performance mode feels so much smoother. Next, post-processing. This setting needs to go. Seriously. Post-processing adds visual effects like bloom, motion blur, cinematic lighting, glowing effects, and extra visual polish. Sounds cool for screenshots, terrible for competitive gameplay, because all those effects create visual clutter. Instead of seeing a clean enemy outline, you're seeing extra lighting effects, blur, haze, and distractions everywhere. And on top of that, it costs FPS. A lot of players don't realize that turning off post-processing can make Fortnite instantly feel more responsive, especially in stacked endgames or big zero build fights where visual clarity is everything. And again, if you're already using performance mode, Fortnite disables most of this automatically because Epic knows these effects hurt performance. Now let's talk about a sneaky setting almost nobody thinks about: report performance stats. Turn this off. Epic themselves recommend disabling it because it adds unnecessary overhead in the background. Does it completely destroy your FPS? No. But competitive optimization is about stacking small advantages together, and if a setting gives you zero gameplay advantage while still using system resources, there's no reason to leave it on. Every little bit helps when you're trying to lower latency and maximize performance. Now this next one is huge: windowed mode and borderless windowed. Do not use these if you care about competitive gameplay. Always use full screen. Here's why. Windowed and borderless modes can add additional input delay because your PC is still managing desktop rendering in the background. That means your inputs can feel slightly delayed compared to true full screen. And in Fortnite, milliseconds matter, especially in shotgun fights, edit peaks, and tracking situations. Full screen gives the lowest latency possible and helps your game feel more responsive overall. A lot of players switch to borderless because it's easier to alt-tab, but competitive players usually choose full screen because responsiveness matters more than convenience. Now, here's one that surprises a lot of people: view distance. You do not need this maxed out. In fact, if you want the best FPS possible, set view distance to near. And before people panic, players still appear at the same distances. That's the important part. What changes is mostly terrain detail and distant objects. So if you're thinking you'll magically see enemies farther away, that's not really how Fortnite works. Instead, you're just making your PC work harder for visuals that usually don't help during fights. Near view distance gives some of the best FPS gains while keeping enemy visibility intact. And now, these are the settings you should turn on, because these settings can massively improve smoothness, visibility, and overall gameplay feel. First one is Show FPS. You need to know what your FPS is doing, because sometimes players think they have bad aim when they're actually getting FPS drops during fights. Watching your FPS helps you identify performance issues instantly. And second is frame rate limit. Set this to unlimited, or match your monitor refresh rate if screen tearing becomes a problem. Higher FPS lowers input delay and makes gameplay feel smoother overall. That's one of the biggest reasons competitive Fortnite players obsess over optimization. Higher FPS literally helps your game feel faster. Now here's the important thing most players don't realize in 2026. Fortnite is becoming more demanding every season. More effects, more map changes, more chaos during fights, which means bad settings hurt even more than they used to. That's exactly why competitive players spend so much time optimizing their game, because smoother gameplay means faster reactions, cleaner visuals mean easier tracking, and lower input delay means your edits and shots feel way more responsive. So, if your Fortnite still feels laggy or blurry, these settings could seriously change your experience. Try them yourself and see the difference. The big-time gamers out there, let me know if you agree or not. And if you enjoyed this part 2, make sure you subscribe right now, hit that like button and share. Hit that notification bell too. I seriously appreciate your time. And remember, be the guy with the coolest weapons, not the guy running away from the guy with the coolest weapons. Be easy.